Okay, so we can go over this here. And the plan is to do a comparison of smart chains. And I have 6 of them that I want to compare. And the first thing I think we ought to do is the usual, which is to say, define terms. So here's some definitions. Well, a smart chain is a blockchain that allows the creation of new coins or new tokens. So it allows the creation of smart contracts. And a smart contract is just like an app on your phone. It's just some programming that can be added. So when you add something to a blockchain, it can either be a program, or it can be data, or it can be a whole new coin. So for example, if any of you have ever used Uniswap to buy coins, Uniswap is a token, a coin that operates on Ethereum. Ethereum is the smart chain, and Uniswap is the coin that runs on that. And so a blockchain that permits new coins and new tokens is called a smart chain. And Ethereum, as an example, has more than 2,700 tokens. Wow. A token is a unit of a cryptocurrency that can be used as money or coins, or it could be NFTs, like collectibles, digital collectibles, or it could be for earning rewards. Like, for example, if you've ever staked coins and gotten paid in return, that is a token. And or for voting, those are tokens. And all coins are tokens, but not all tokens are coins. Because some tokens are just things like NFTs, which is not a coin. It's a digital collectible picture kind of thing. So the next thing is numbers. So I promised you, I don't know, something like, I think 15 different pieces of information on these different blockchains. And the easiest way to get most of them was to go to livecoinwatch.com. And most of you have been there and seen what it looks like. And so what I did is I went to LiveCoinWatch and I selected the coins that I wanted to display. And then I favorited them. And on LiveCoinWatch, the way you favorite them is you click the heart. And the heart that's white goes red, and that means it's a favorite. And then you can say, you can tell it to display just your favorites. And that's what I did. So that's what this is. Now, you don't have to write this down because I've already taken this and I've put it in, I put it up on the web for you guys to be able to download this whole slideshow thing. There's only 4 pages. And so if you go to bitcoin-secrets.com, if you go to the free downloads page, you'll see the last thing that was just put up there is this PDF with the different comparisons. But let's just look at it for a minute. And you guys can download it and look at it if you want. If that makes it easier for you, go right ahead. Well, yeah, that's that same question. We're going to handle that question today. Okay, this question's come up before. What's the difference between something that you can make an infinite number of copies of versus something that you can just divide in little tiny pieces? And I think this comes up most of the time when we're talking about Bitcoin can't be inflated because there can only be 21 million of them. And I've heard the question before, well, but if you can take one Bitcoin and divide it into 1 million pieces, then you really don't have a finite supply. So if I had $5 in my wallet and I had 5 children, I could give $1 to each child, right? Or I could, if I had a change machine, turn the dollars into pennies, and I could give 50 pennies to each one of the kids. But the point is that no matter how I am able to divide it up, I can't give more than $1 per child. That's what we mean when we say Bitcoin has a finite limit of the number of Bitcoins that can be made. There can't be more than 21 million Bitcoins. And so even though you can take a Bitcoin and divide it into, a tremendous number of pieces, you still can't give more than one Bitcoin, or you still can't get more than 21 million Bitcoins. So being able to divide something up doesn't mean you can inflate it. It just means you can give smaller pieces of it out. Let's go back to this thing we're looking at. We've got all the different coins running down the left-hand side and all of their cute little symbols. And then the next thing we have is market cap. So you can get an idea of how big these things are, right? And market cap, once again, to remind you, is the price per coin times the number of coins. So Ethereum is currently about $300 billion in terms of its market cap. And that's larger than any of these other blockchains. Now, it's not larger than Bitcoin, but Bitcoin is not a smart chain. You cannot program it. You can't have apps that you invent or put new coins on it. So Ethereum is the largest smart chain we have, about $300 billion. It's about 18% of the total crypto market, the crypto verse, I like to call it, the crypto universe. And so it's that's the size. The next one down in terms of size is Cardano, which is ADA, trading symbol. And Cardano is about $54 billion. So it's about a sixth of Ethereum. And it's only about 3% of the cryptoverse. And as we come down, Binance and Cardano go back and forth depending on the day. One is above, one is below. They switch around. It's got $53 billion as of this morning. And it also is about 3%. And then we have Polkadot, which is the newest of the ones that we've talked about so far, although the next two are newer. But we have Polkadot is 22 billion. It's only 1% of the cryptoverse. MATIC is a fairly new one, and it's 11 billion, and it's less than 1%. And Solana is kind of one most people haven't heard of. It's kind of new to the cryptoverse. And so now the next thing over that we can look at after dominance is how is it done for the last week and how did it do for the last month? Now, as I told you, I got up at 4:30 in the morning. So this data was captured somewhere around 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning. So it may be different if we look at live coin watch tonight. But this is what we had. And at the time, there's some very interesting things here. Let me point out that the percentages in green are up and the percentages in red are down. And so if you look, for example, at let's look at the 30-day percentage up or down for Ethereum. And so that's 10% down for the month. You see how that works? You guys okay here? Following me on the percentages? Because it's going to get more interesting in a minute. Okay, so green is up, red is down. One of the first things you'll notice is that ADA, which is Cardano, and MATIC, which is Polygon, those are the only two that were, as of this morning, up for a month. If you compare where it was a month ago to where it was this morning, it would be up. The rest of them are all down. And not only were they up, if you look at the size of the amount they're up, it's pretty substantial. Cardano's up 30% for the month. I'm rounding off. It's 29.06, but I hate details. So it's up 30%. But MATIC, for crying out loud, is up 140% for the month. What is going on there, right? That's what we're all asking ourselves. And so if you look at the quarterly graph, see the quarterly graph I've got over here? You look at the quarterly graph, you'll notice that the one coin that didn't come down as far on the correction, and you see where the correction is on every one of those graphs, where it suddenly goes from up to sharp down, almost to the bottom of the graph, that's the correction. The top of that correction was May 18th, May 19th was a huge correction, 30-some%. And May 23rd was the final flurry on that. And it was down, and together it was down somewhere, the market was down about 55%. So that's a huge drop. And of all the ones with the smallest drop is MATIC. See this? If you compare that drop to this drop, or that drop, or that drop, they're all much larger. And even more interesting is if you look at the recovery after the drop, like Polkadot had almost no recovery. Solana had a little recovery. They're all really minor except for MATIC. And MATIC has a pretty decent recovery there. So now, a couple other things I promised to show you. Anybody want to make comments before I go on? Okay. So a couple other things I wanted to show you is I wanted to show you that if you look at the number of followers on Twitter and the number of followers on the Telegram, which is like an instant messaging app, you'll see that in terms of the number of Twitter followers, Binance has the most, which is kind of fitting for the world's largest cryptocurrency exchange. They're the biggest, and they have the largest. They also have the largest Telegram group, which is fitting. What's interesting to me is the next largest Telegram group is Solana, which is this little tiny baby that's just coming up now. So that makes us kind of want to know, wow, what's going on with Solana? And I'm wetting your whistle because the next slide is going to give us some answers. So that's how you look at those things. And the reason followers is important is because price goes up when demand goes up. And demand goes up when people start telling others, this is hot, you should buy it. That's really what gets people out there to buy things. There are some people that do research, good research, and then they come out to YouTube and they tell you and others and hundreds of thousands, or in the case of Coin Bureau, a million others, you know, this is hot, you guys should buy it. So the amount of social media buzz is reflected in the number of followers that these coins have. And interestingly, Polkadot's been around, it's actually been around since 2017. It hasn't really broken out and become noticeable until about the last year or so. But it's been around for 3 years. MATIC has not been around that much, shorter, and it has almost as many followers on Twitter as Polkadot and Cardano. See, 300 to 400. So that's kind of interesting. And what's happening is the new blockchains are catching up to the old ones because they're becoming more widely known and more talked about. So that's kind of what's happening. And the other thing that's interesting is the last column here is how many markets. So for example, Binance is a market, Coinbase is a market, Kraken is a market, Gemini is a market, Uniswap is a market, SushiSwap is a market, PancakeSwap is a market. How many markets are they traded on? And obviously, Ethereum is the King Kong of them all. It's on over 4,000 markets. I mean, nobody's close. And the next one that's at least in the same league, at least it's in the 4 digits, is Binance. And Binance, the Binance coin, BNB, is traded on 1,700 markets. So the rest of these guys are kind of small. And what's interesting here is the rest of them are all pretty much in the vicinity of about 50 to 100. And again, if you're looking at coins and you want to get an idea of maybe where is their demand, where are there coins that are going to go up, their price is going to go up, you would think that the more demand, the more number of markets that would carry the coin, because the exchanges in the markets make money when people buy the coin. When you trade, they get a tiny percentage. So if you do a trade, they get maybe 0.03% or something like that. The more people that trade, the more trades there are, the more money they make. So when a coin gets hot, markets reach out and say, hey, we want your coin on our market. We want to be selling that. So that just shows you that Ether has tremendous amount of acceptance. Binance has a tremendous amount of acceptance. And the other four are kind of like fighting it out themselves. So Cardano has 111 markets and MATIC has 96. Kind of impressive for one of those smaller ones. And the one that is the newest on the block, the one that is just coming up now and has the smallest amount of market cap, has the smallest number of markets. So if you follow these things along, it'll give you those clues. And one of the other things that traders who buy and hold and sell, one of the other things that traders do is they watch for what's called the Coinbase effect. When a coin gets listed on Coinbase for the first time, that's generally good for anywhere from 10 to 30% boost in the price for that day. And it's the same for other major exchanges. So if Gemini is going to list a coin for the first time, that will boost the coin's price and sales. And that's why we put in these, I put in these other three columns, Twitter, Telegram, and markets, because that gives you a clue as to what people are talking about and where the buzz is, because that's necessary to move the price on coins and the adoption. Okay, so now we're wondering, what is this? Why are each one of these so good? What's the big deal on MATIC? And how come Cardano has got what it's got and things are happening to it? So let's go look at the next page here. And here it is, additional information. I had to do a lot of squeezing to get all of this information in here. And Carl, just so you know, this particular presentation, and Mercedes too, this presentation that I'm showing you is, I put it up on the web so that you can get it on the web as well and download it and look at it. And that's the link to it. I put it up on my Bitcoin Secrets website. So this exact same PDF is up there as well. Okay, so here we have the market cap rank, which is kind of interesting. And it's interesting because it tells you like how much acceptance the coin already has. So ETH is number 2, obviously. ADA is number 4. Number 3 is Tether, in case you're curious, which is a stable coin for $1. So ETH, then ADA, then Binance is number 5, and then comes Polkadot at 8. Then we go down to 15 to find MATIC, and down to 17 to find Solana. So that's kind of where they are in terms of relationship to others. Now, the number of projects running on these coins is fascinating for me. I was just fascinated when I started digging this data up. And I had to go to 6 different places to get the data. And if you want to know where I got it, or you want to look at that data, I gave you the source of where I found it for all these different number of projects down here in the footnotes. So ETH has 2,782 projects. And there's so many, I guess that there's probably 15 more while we're having this meeting that are coming on. It's huge. Now, ADA is interesting because ADA built itself slowly in a manner that no other blockchain has done. Most other blockchains have someone who is, or a group of people who are very, very well versed and intelligent in tech. And they'll sit down and they'll write a white paper. And a white paper is just a document that describes how a technical thing operates. And so they write the white paper, and then the developers take that and they start programming to make it work the way it was described as to how it should be. Well, ADA didn't go that direction. ADA's CEO and founder is a guy named Charles Hodgkinson, and he is an academic. He was also one of the co-founders of Ethereum, along with Vitalik. And he decided, and he's a mathematician, and he is very well versed in academia, that is to say, universities and things. So he decided that rather than just writing up something, having a bunch of programmers look at it, program it, and seeing how it works, fixing if it's broke or adding to it, he decided to go a different route. And what he did was he went the university, it's called peer reviewed research route. Peer reviewed means that when you write something, before you put a book out to the public, you write the paper about what it is that you think, and it gets circulated to your peers, other professors in the same discipline, and they look at it, and then they make comments. So before a paper in universities is published in a journal, like the Journal of Biochemical Reactions or whatever, the editors of the journal take the paper that's written and they submit it to people who are peers, who are also people who wrote paper in that area, and ask them for their comments. And if the results are favorable, the paper gets published. And that's how university research is moved forward. So Charles decided to do that with ADA, with Cardano. And so Cardano has, I think, somewhere in the vicinity of 23 peer-reviewed scholarly scientific research papers that have been published that talk about the different things that they are doing with Cardano that haven't been done before. And so his approach is completely different from others, as a result of which it's taken longer for Cardano to take off and finally get completely built. The good news is Cardano has done everything up until the very last, well, they've got 2 more releases, but the next release that is expected this month is the release that permits coins to be programmed on it. And when that release happens, then all of these other coins that have been looking on releasing on Cardano will suddenly be available and they'll be able to come over. So at the moment, there's only one application that you can go out and use. It's called Card Starter, and it's a launch pad. And Launchpad is a coin, a blockchain that allows new coins to come out, be made known, and to make their initial sales so they can start to make their way in the world of the currency, cryptocurrency. That's a launch pad. And launch pads are very popular because if the projects are well reviewed and checked before they're released, then the odds are that those projects will begin to just go up in price dramatically right after they're released on the launch pad. So people who are looking for small cap coins that are going to multiply rapidly within a few days or weeks, they typically start out by looking at launch pads to see what projects are about to come off. So with our last bull run, the last big exciting from October to March, launch pads became really hot. So it's not surprising that the first application and coin that is working on Cardano is a launch pad, and that's Card Starter, and its trading symbol is CARDS. Now, we have it on good authority, Charles Hodgkinson, that there are 100 projects or more that are waiting to come out on Cardano, and they're working on right now adapting their code from Ethereum or whatever other blockchain they're on to then come over and run on Cardano. And the reason they want to run on Cardano is, number one, speed, much, much faster than Ethereum. Number two, low gas fees, insignificant compared to what we're used to with Ethereum gas. And number three, when they come on, there's interoperability, which is a big deal. Because if you go back about 2 years, say up to 2019, if you had a coin on a blockchain, let's say Bitcoin, and you had another blockchain, say Ethereum, you can't get one coin to the other. As of 2 years ago, it was impossible. And so since most of the money in the cryptoverse, 50% or more is Bitcoin, if you were running DeFi, if you had a decentralized finance application and you wanted people to invest in it, you would certainly want to be open to Bitcoin. And so the whole issue of interoperability became a big thing. How do I take the value I have on one blockchain and move it to another? And so there have been various solutions for that. But what's happened is 1, 2, 3, 4 of these of the 6 smart blockchains are based on the fact that interoperability of being able to move coins from one chain to another by using that chain was built right into the design of it from the beginning. The 2 that didn't have it were Ethereum, because that concept of interoperability didn't exist when it first was designed in 2014. And the other one that didn't have it right from the beginning was Binance. And again, Binance came a little bit late, and so they haven't. Now they're working on it now. But Cardano, Polkadot, Polygon, and Solana were all designed to be interoperable right from the beginning. And so those are the reasons that other coins want to come to different blockchains. So that's kind of exciting. So I'm explaining why Cardano has only one project now, but it's going to have more than 100 within a few months. The other thing that Cardano did to kind of move over here into what's special about it is Cardano has been pouring a lot of resources into making it very, very easy to move cryptocurrency coins and tokens and projects onto Cardano. Well, how have they done that? Well, number one, there have been computer programming languages for decades. Some of the more popular languages a couple decades ago was a language called C, just the letter C. And it was a very popular language, and lots of new programmers picked it up and use it. But the language you have to use to program on Ethereum is called Solidity. And it was a new language that Ethereum created. And there are not a lot of Solidity programmers, but there are tons of C programmers. And so one of the things that Cardano decided to do brilliantly was to make it possible that there were tools in the ADA blockchain that C programmers could come in and start programming blockchain techniques and coins with the C they knew. So that was one thing that was brilliant. The second thing they did was they duplicated Ethereum's functions. The smart functions on Ethereum, there is a set of operations that if you decide you want to have a new coin and you agree with all those operations and you decide to use them just the way Ethereum set them up, you can get your coin on Ethereum in very short time, meaning 3 or 4 months. And so that's a powerful thing. And you may have seen some coins described as ERC20. So ERC20 is an Ethereum request for comment. And the way new things are done on Ethereum, the way things changes are proposed, is a programmer will say, hey, here's my idea, let's do this instead of that. And this is my request for comment. What do you guys think? And if the majority of the programmers, also called developers, same thing both ways, if the majority of those people decide they all like it and they vote for it, then they implement it. They make it happen. They program it so it'll occur. So ERC20 was the proposal for what are the minimum things a new token needs to do to work happily on the Ethereum blockchain. And so all the coins that you are familiar with, Tether, Uniswap, Chainlink, Aave, Yearn Finance, a ton of them, they all are ERC20 coins. And even Polkadot, when it first came out, was an ERC20 coin until they created their own blockchain. Binance was an ERC20 coin until they created their blockchain. Cardano was an ERC20 coin before it created its own blockchain. So that's what ERC20 is, and it made it easy for coins to come over to it. So what Cardano has done is patterned their program and their means of operation off of Ethereum. So if you got a coin that's ERC20 and it works on Ethereum, you can, within a few weeks, make it work on Cardano as soon as they finish that last bit this month. And that's really, really exciting. So that's why Charles can say there's more than 100 projects that are getting ready to come on just as soon as we finish this one last thing. Okay, questions before I roll on. Holy smokes, and you're all still there. Frightening. You're gluttons for punishment.
No, I just have, Peter, this is Bob. I just have a comment. That was an excellent overview that you just gave on all that. That was just super, just to let you know.
Yes, thank you very much. Very impressed.
Oh, you guys are welcome. I had a great time doing it. So much fun. And I think what I'm going to do is tweet this thing. We'll see what happens. I'm going to get on my Uncle Crypto tweet account and I'll tweet it. And then I'll send you a guy's email and ask you to please retweet it. Let's see what we can do here.
Excuse me, Peter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a fast question. Just from your description of Cardano, it sounds like it may be an excellent investment because it sounds like it's going to, it's getting more popular and more user friendly and so forth. In other words, things that would likely increase the value. Are you sort of saying that in a way, or what are your thoughts as far as buying Cardano?
Well, Cardano is, I think, my third largest position. Bitcoin's number one, so it's right up there, and it has been for way over a year, maybe a year and a half, something like that. So Cardano has got a lot of really good things going for it. And you will notice if you subscribe to Guy at Coin Bureau, he has a weekly newsletter that's free. And in his weekly newsletter, every week, he tells you what % of his portfolio are in what coins. And he holds Cardano. So that's one of the things. So you'll see that Cardano is well regarded by a lot of people. And it's going to be really exciting this month when they finish the last little thing to make the Ethereum coins just be able to come over right away. It's going to be hot.
Okay.
Did that answer your question?
It does mostly. If I was going to, it does actually, but if I was going to choose between Cardano and Ethereum, which would you pick and why?
Don't. And the reason why not is diversification. You really want to aim for at least 5 different coins. Bitcoin's always the first, and it's frequently the largest position. It used to be more than half of mine. It's now the largest position, but it's not half anymore.
Yeah.
And so because this is kind of like a horse race, or if you admire stock traders, this is kind of like venture capital. These coins, we know this is the future. We know this is going to change the way business operates enormously, even more than the internet. And so the ones that win, the ones that succeed, will become, 30, 50, 100 times more valuable than they are now. And the price will go up that way, that same kind of thing. But you don't know which horse is going to win the race. For example, Ethereum wanted to make several different changes. And one of the things that keeps Ethereum slow, Ethereum can only do somewhere around 10 to 13 transactions a second. 10 to 13 a second, okay? Visa does somewhere around, is it 4,000 a second or 40,000 a second? It starts with a 4 and has a lot of zeros. So Ethereum is really slow. And one of the things that holds it up is the way it was designed years and years ago. It patterned itself on Bitcoin, which operates that same way. Bitcoin does, I think, 7 transactions a second. And so as a result of which, it was slow and it had to be adjusted. And so it knew that if it remade itself in a different manner, it could be very, very fast. And so it was proposed, it was designed, and the Ethereum 2.0, which is the big version everybody's waiting for, is the one that implements that to make it super fast, which will also drop the gas fees tremendously and make it faster. And so everybody loves that. And it'll also use much, much, much less energy. So that's really exciting, and that's Ethereum 2.0. Well, Ethereum 2.0 was designed 4 years ago. We don't have Ethereum 2.0 yet. And it was designed in stages, and we've had a couple stages, and I think if I remember correctly, there's another 2 or 3 left to go. But they thought Ethereum 2.0 would be done in a year or 2, and it's been 4. And it's going to be at least another 1 before they're done, probably 2. So it's a horse race, and it's exciting. When you understand the technology, it's really exciting because Ethereum has all these coins, almost 3,000 coins running on it, and new ones by the dozens coming on every day. So it's huge. It has a lot of potential, but it's slow and it's expensive. So the new ones, the up and comers, let's say MATIC and Solana and Polkadot, those are the new ones, and they're rushing in. And Solana, as an example, can do 50,000 transactions a second. It can do more than Visa. I mean, it's huge. MATIC is a range, and it is now able to do and is doing 7,000 to 10,000 transactions a second. So it's a question of, will these guys get out there first and then have all these other coins come over to them? Or will Ethereum get there before these other coins come over? And then they're ready and they're fast. And then as long as everybody's running on Ethereum, they'll have all the benefits. And that's the horse race. And so for a while, it was looked at like there's only going to be one winner. It's only going to be one smart blockchain. It's either going to be Ethereum or Cardano or Polkadot. We don't know which, but one of them. And now with the advantage of hindsight to judge things, you can see that it's not going to be one. There's going to be 3 or 4 or 5. And each one will have a little bit different slant of how they do it and what it's good for. And so as a result of that, they probably won't just have one. They'll probably have several. But because you don't know which one of these is going to be the biggest one, it's not wise to buy one or the other. It's wise to buy a couple of them,
I get you.
actually 4 or 5, but there you go. Did I answer that? Did I answer that question?
That was an excellent answer. Thank you so much for explaining that. I learned a lot more than I was anticipating. Thank you.
Cool. Now, what's interesting, because I mentioned this about coins coming over to other blockchains. And one of the things I promised to tell you guys in this meeting is I promised to tell you what are the most popular coins on the different chains. So let's look at this. Chainlink. You guys have probably heard about Chainlink, very popular. Chainlink is an oracle. And what an oracle does in cryptocurrency is an oracle provides data from outside the blockchain in a manner that can be used on the blockchain. So let me give you an example. If you're on the Ethereum blockchain, there are coins. One of them is called Augur, A-U-G-U-R, which comes from the old Latin word augur and augury, which means to foretell the future. And Augur is a betting chain. So you can go on Augur and you can bet on who is going to win the election, which team's going to win the next game, what's going to happen, is inflation going up or down. You can bet on all kinds of things. And so Augur, in order to pay off, has to get that information on its blockchain. Well, the Augur blockchain only has data about Augur and its coins. So how the hell do you get that data in? And the answer to that is you use an oracle, which is a blockchain that can get data from outside in the world and present it in a manner that the blockchain can use and absorb and function and work with. So Chainlink, there was a big excitement when Chainlink first came out because it was one of the major problems of how to get off-chain data from the real world into a blockchain. And so Link did great, price shot up. Well, if you look over here now in additional information under notable projects, Ether has Link. Cardano is not ready, but I guarantee it'll be there within weeks when it's ready. Polkadot has Link, MATIC has Link, Solana has Link, and Binance has its own oracle. And I forget what the hell it's called, but it has its own. So you can see Link wanted to be on all these different chains. And so Link did that. It's made that and moved over. Here's another one. GRT. Judy, what's GRT? I forgot. The graph? Thanks. So the graph. Look at how many have GRT on here. Binance has got it. MATIC has got it. Solano's got it. See that? So this is what's happening. And what's interesting is this wasn't possible before. And one of the things that's propelling the price and the adoption and the amount of use that these new ones, MATIC and Solano and Cardano, one of the things that's propelling them is because they are designed to be interoperable, which is the fancy word that means my coin can talk to your coin. They're interoperable. And so these all have Link. And so you see what goes on there. So that's kind of what's exciting about that. So that was Cardano in terms of number of projects. Binance has 191, which is the most projects of anybody else. And then Polkadot has 95. MATIC has 106, which amazed me. And Solana has 250, which is mind-blowing. Now, a lot of the Solana ones that it has are brand new ones, games, ones that just might fade out. We don't know. But they also have some big ones. They have Luna, which is a coin that's been around, a lot of talk about it. And Luna's on a couple of different blockchains. And so Solana has, it's got the graph, it's got Ren, which is a DeFi coin. It's been pretty big. Arweave, another DeFi coin, Link, and Tether, USDT, stablecoin. So these have all piled into it. And so even that's how it's gotten 250 projects. It's kind of amazing. And what these new blockchains are doing is they're developing themselves so that they copy the Ethereum, the way Ethereum is set up. And if they follow the way Ethereum's set up, then it's a matter of months to get a new coin on. And coins like to be on a lot of different blockchains, particularly ones that have low gas fees. Because a lot of us are not running out or haven't, although I noticed the gas fees have been down the last 3-4 days. But a lot of us haven't been running out to buy things because the gas fees were ridiculous. Well, the coins, they're aware of that. These projects are aware of that. And so they want to go where the fees are low. So they're moving to the new blockchains. Okay, so let's just talk about some of the notable projects on these. Okay, so Tether is a stable coin. Large institutions, when they move money in and out of crypto, they usually do it by way of stable coins first, because it allows them to get the coin up on the exchange. So when the opportunity to buy is there, they don't have to have somebody send the money up. It's there right there, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If there's an opportunity to buy at the right price, they can get their order filled. Uni is Uniswap. And although Binance is the world's largest exchange, it's centralized. Uniswap is the world's largest decentralized exchange. And Uniswap, if I remember right, is down there somewhere around 15 or 17. And so Uniswap is huge, huge. Link, we talked about. Aave was one of the big new, was one of the new originators of DeFi. And it is one of the larger DeFi coins with billions and billions under management locked in. I shouldn't say under management. It has money locked in to its programmable payment. Like DeFi is, you put some money in, you can earn percentages and money out. That's how it's programmed. And Aave is programmed to do that. And they have, they're usually 1, 2, or 3 in terms of the most money locked into DeFi coins. YFI is Yearn Finance. It's another huge DeFi coin, very popular. So we talked about cards. Binance has some things that are very interesting. 1inch is a decentralized exchange, very much like Uniswap. The one thing it does better than Uniswap, or differently, is 1inch goes out and checks several other decentralized exchanges, about 7 of them or so, and it gets you the best price by checking all 7. So 1inch is kind of nice. NGen is a coin that is being used in gaming. NGen's had a terrific run. NGen is currently on the Binance blockchain. It started, again, like everybody else, on the Ethereum. ONT is Ontology. It's an Asian blockchain that we don't hear too much about in the States, but it's very big in Asia. And you'll notice that Ontology is on both Polkadot and Binance. And I'd be willing to bet that within a few weeks, it'll be on Cardano. We talked about the graph. MDX, I have no clue what it is. Pancake is the swap program like Uniswap, except it's on the Binance chain, which means the execution's faster. The fees are tiny. When I was doing trades on Uniswap and paying $60 or so a trade on Uniswap, I could make a trade on Cake for about 80 cents to $1. So that was a big deal. So that's Pancake Swap. Bake is Bakery Swap, which is another swapping token project on Binance, and it's fairly big and growing. Polkadot. Polkadot has some interesting ones. We've got Link, Kasama, KSM. Kasama is the sixth sister project to Polkadot. The exact same people who are developing Polkadot. And by the way, Gavin Wood is the guy who was in charge of developing Polkadot. He was also an Ethereum co-founder. And he is the leader of Polkadot. He's also the leader of Kasama. And they just decided to make another project just like Polkadot for testing. So Kasama gets all the projects that Polkadot, or all the features that Polkadot plans to do. They get them first on Kasama, and they're tested out. And if it works well and people like them, then they put them into Polkadot. So there's been a big run on Kasama price because Kasama does really well, and the projects running on it have been really nice. So that's Kasama. And ZRX is a project that allows coins that weren't on the Ethereum blockchain to be able to get on it and to be able to be traded on exchanges. It's been around for a few years, and now they've opened up a DeFi arm as well. Anchor ran their DeFi coins. I don't know that much about them. For MATIC, you have, again, some coins. They're lesser known. And Solano has got its set of coins. And you can kind of see what they are. So let's do what's special, because we're getting to the end of our time here. So what's special about Ethereum, the very first thing is the network effect, meaning how many things are connected in the network. There's so many damn things connected that the network is very valuable. If you can get something to run on the Ethereum network, it can interact with all kinds of other things. And that's why DeFi went to Ethereum first, because there were so many other coins it could use, and it could use them and gain power from them. It's the home of DeFi. It's the home of NFTs. Not to say that DeFi doesn't exist other places, not to say that NFTs can't be done other places, but it really is the home for them. And it's soon to be green. That is to say, they're going to switch how they operate. This is part of the ETH 2.0 plan, so that they don't use as much electricity. They can do many, many, many more transactions, like 1,000 transactions a second. The gas fees will go down, and basically they're changing. Bitcoin was created to propose a new block, a question, an answer to a question. And the first computer every 10 minutes that gets the first correct answer, that the other computers on the blockchain agree, it's allowed to create a block. And he's rewarded with new Bitcoins for that. So it's valuable. So the way the consensus is done is the same problem with that proposed solution is worked by all the other 11,000 computers in the Bitcoin blockchain. They all do the same thing all over again. And it's a very involved, elaborate mathematical problem. So it uses a lot of electricity. So you have 11,000 computers duplicating a very involved calculation every 10 minutes. That makes it slow. The new method to be able to do it fast for cheap gas fees is actually what was designed by Cardano, and it's called proof of stake. And Cardano said, look, we don't need to recalculate this. All we have to do is check and see, did the computer that proposed this have enough money invested in the blockchain? Did they own enough Cardano tokens that they wouldn't want to screw up the blockchain, and therefore all of their tokens would become worthless? Right? That makes sense, doesn't it? It's referred sometimes in venture capital as skin in the game. A a founder of a company goes to a venture capital company, goes, I've got this great idea. It's a new way to slice toast, and it's fabulous, and I only need $2 million to produce it. And the venture capitalists will go and say, well, how much of your money's in there? And the guy goes, well, I didn't put any of mine in. And the venture capitalists will say, well, you don't have any skin in the game. You're not putting anything up. So skin in the game is kind of the viewpoint of proof of stake. And basically it says that the computers that propose the next block have to have very large stakes of coins on that chain. And if they have a large stake, it doesn't have to be recomputed. And that reduces the amount of electricity. It reduces the amount of time. It makes everything just run much better. And so that's the new wave of kind of the third generation of where now blockchains are being able to do it, and it makes them green. It'll make Elon Musk very happy. And so that's proof of stake. So proof of stake was first created with some research papers that were used by the Cardano guys because they do university research. And they also worked on it to make it easy to switch over from Ethereum to Cardano. Binance is backed by the world's largest cryptocurrency exchange, Binance. That really helps them. Binance, when they built their smart chain, it was their second chain. They had a Binance chain that wasn't smart. It was just a chain to hold data so that they were able to sell Binance coins to accumulate money to launch this exchange. But after they got it launched, they saw what was going on. They decided to launch a new blockchain to take its place that was a smart chain, just like Ethereum. They could create new coins and do all these other things. So CZ, who owns Binance and is a brilliant guy and has brilliant people around him, said, let's pattern this on Ethereum. So that if a coin or a project has something that'll work on Ethereum, an ERC20 token, it'll run on ours. So that's what they did. And so they made it very easy to switch from Ethereum. So that's really brilliant. Polkadot. Polkadot, again, is the CEO is Gavin Wood. He is also a co-founder of Ethereum. Polkadot, its claim to fame is it is the blockchain of blockchains. Sometimes they call it the internet of blockchains. And it's focused on interoperability. Remember I told you we have this problem of blockchains, tokens can't talk to another blockchain? Well, Polkadot took proof of stake just for given. It's there, we're going to be proof of stake. But we're also going to design it in such a way that people will be able to create their own blockchain in such a way that they work in conjunction with Polkadot. And it's called a parachain, a side chain. Para means side in Latin, to the side. Parallel lines are to the side of each other. So these side chains in Polkadot are able to talk to, by means of going through the Polkadot chain, they can talk to other chains and they'll interrelate. So that's Polkadot's claim to fame. They're doing it in proof of stake, so they're going to be really big in interoperability. MATIC is actually, it sits on the Ethereum blockchain. And the guys who worked this out were absolutely brilliant. I was going to use a freaking word, but I didn't. And the MATIC guys were brilliant. The main blockchain, you've heard of layer 1 and layer 2. You ever heard that? No, never heard. Okay, well, there's layer 1 and layer 2. Layer 1 blockchains provide the security of the information that it cannot be changed. So layer 1 blockchains, Bitcoin. Once something's written to the Bitcoin blockchain, honey, it ain't going nowhere. It can't be changed. No one can hack it. Ethereum, layer 1 blockchain. You put data into the Ethereum blockchain, it is not going to be changeable. In fact, there's a bank, I think it's in Singapore, that's about to launch an enormous bond and the bond is a smart contract on Ethereum. So the layer one provides the security of the data, and it verifies that it's real, that it follows the rules of the blockchain, and that the other members of the blockchain agree. It has consensus, and it makes it in such a way it can't be changed. And that's what a layer one project does. A layer two project sits on top of that and figures out something to do better. Okay, here we go. This gets exciting. What's our big complaint about Ethereum blockchain? Gas fees, right? So MATIC came along and said, you know, we don't have to write a whole new blockchain. We could just use the Ethereum blockchain and figure out a way to let transactions happen on the side at 7 to 10,000 transactions a second, accumulate all that data, and then take it and make one transaction to Ethereum that would contain the data on these. So Ethereum secures the data, but MATIC processes it so that the transactions are super fast, the gas fees are low, and it's proof of stake. Beautiful. So that's what they did for MATIC. And it allows interoperability, again, the important thing. So that's what they did with MATIC. And the reason I've put it here as a smart chain is because MATIC isn't just a simple layer two. When Bitcoin was slow and people were trying to use Bitcoin for actually buying things, it was too slow. And so along came some developers and they said, we're going to program a way to have a whole bunch of transactions happen off the blockchain, like we'll keep record of it all, and all of these things. And then when we're ready, we'll write something to the Bitcoin blockchain, and it will encompass all these other little ones. And it's called the Lightning Network. And so the Lightning Network allowed Bitcoin transactions or transactions to happen much, much faster than Bitcoin. And with Bitcoin's security, no one could alter the data. So Lightning is a layer two. It doesn't do anything but speed that up and then it's done, period. You can't put anything else on Lightning. MATIC's on this list because MATIC has the capability of letting other blockchains use the MATIC layer two chain the same way that these other chains like Polkadot or Ether or Binance, the same way all those layer one chains work and allow other coins to go on them, MATIC allows other coins to go on its chain. So it's kind of like a super layer two. And that's why it's on the list. And the last one, Solana. And Solana came up with a really brilliant way to make processing of transactions unbelievably faster, therefore unbelievably cheaper, and therefore unbelievably less expensive, and making it all work wonderfully. And I won't get into the technical details, we don't have the time, but they came up with a new approach that is different from any of the other approaches used on any of their blockchains. And it allows the transactions to go through it like 50,000 transactions per second. And they've actually tested it on something like 200 and some different computers hooked up in the chain and ran and got the 50,000 transactions per second with no problem. The other thing they've done, because once again, these new ones see the advantage of being able to duplicate and mimic Ethereum. They have all these new coins they can bring on quickly. And so Solana also has created new tools to make it easy for people to write and develop coins and tokens on the Solana blockchain and to bring over ones from Ether. And so there you go.